We are Nigerians. We are one people. God made us united in our diversity.
Nigeria, officially Federal Republic of Nigeria, is a West African nation occupying an area of 356,669 square meters, spanning across 923,768 square kilometers. With a growing population of more than 200 million, Nigeria is said to be the most populous black nation in the world. Abuja is the Federal Capital Territory of Nigeria. Nigeria has more than 250 ethnic groups, including Hausa, Fulani, Yoruba, and Igbo. English is Nigeria's official language, while Christianity, Islam, and traditional beliefs represent the nation's major religions. The naira has been Nigeria's currency since 1973.
We have a vision with hope of what can be. Our dreams are lofty, our future great. Yes, we can do what's right and walk in love's just ways. We are Nigerians. Let's rise and build.
We are Nigerians. We are one people. God made us united in our diversity. We have one history. We have one destiny. We are Nigerians. Let's rise and build.
Nigeria consists of plateaus and the lowlands between them, which are major river basins fed especially by the Niger River. It has a developing mixed economy based largely on petroleum production and agriculture. Manufacturing is growing in importance. Services, trade, and transportation employ more than 2/5 of the workforce.
And the renewed growth that we're seeing now and the renewed optimism that we're seeing now is driven in part by empowerment of the real private sector. And I think that is what is going to help Nigeria achieve the SDGs by 2030.
Nigeria is a federal republic with two legislative bodies. Its head of state and government is the president. There is symbiotic relationship between the three arms of government, the executive, legislature, and judiciary for smooth and easy running of democracy.
The doggedness with which we pursued our vision and goals that culminated into the successes we recorded remain like bright stars in the history of our dear nation. As patriotic citizens, I know you are aware of the enormous challenges facing our country. I trust that you appreciate the determination and commitment with which we as a government are confronting the challenges given the constraints and limitations that we face, which are well known to all and sundry.
The area known as Nigeria began to come under British control in 1861 and was made a British colony in 1914. Nigeria gained independence in 1960 and became a republic in 1963. Nigeria overcame ethnic strifes that led to military coups even as military groups ruled the country from 1966 to 1979 and from 1983 to 1999. Not even the Civil War of 1967 to 1970 was able to disintegrate the nation as she marched on, forging unity in diversity. Today, Nigeria has 36 states plus the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja.
Here we are as a people with one heart, for one cause. We're determined to rebuild and restore. Where freedom reigns and truth prevails. Our land where there's hope for us all.
Our main objective is the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We are human beings. We have our weaknesses, and I assure you that the patriotism in us is hard-earned. We have gone through all the troubles from 15th of January 1966 to date. You know what I mean by this. We kill about 1 million of ourselves in order to keep this country together. I don't think there can be any practical experience more than that.
The Nigerian economy is one of the largest in Africa. Since the late 1960s, it has been based primarily on the petroleum industry. A series of world oil price increases from 1973 produced rapid economic growth in transportation, construction, manufacturing, and government services. Today, the non-oil sector contributes largely to Nigeria's gross domestic product, GDP.
Now we have a common language, we have a common agenda, and we need to move from talking about policies and creating policies to action on the ground. And to do that, we have to work together.
Security situation in Nigeria is fast improving despite challenges. Governments at all levels have committed huge resources to fortify existing security architectures, while new innovations are being introduced to beef up the sector as an important ingredient for sustainable development.
Training is key element in everything we do. Now more so in the military profession, particularly for the army. That's why I'll attach a lot of importance to it. One of the 4 cardinal principles of my command philosophy is training, because there is no alternative to training. We continue to train and improve on what we do. Our whole essence is to improve our competencies, see areas, see gaps, and now come up with modalities of how to address them. And that's what we are doing, and that is accounting for some of the successes we are having in areas of our operations.
Beyond its shores, since the 1960s, Nigeria has been a major contributor of troops and police to United Nations peace operations, having served in dozens of missions. Nigerian troops have been the military backbone of the UN missions in Liberia, Sierra Leone, Guinea-Bissau, Congo, Namibia, Gambia, Angola, Western Sahara, Cambodia, Mozambique, Somalia, Rwanda, Yugoslavia, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Croatia, Macedonia, East Timor, Kosovo, Afghanistan, Cote d'Ivoire, Burundi, Haiti, Sudan, and South Sudan, to mention but a few.
Everywhere that Nigerians have had reason to participate in keeping peace or in supporting the cause of peace, we've always been appreciated.
Nigeria is taking the lead in ensuring our women, the ladies, are being involved in peace support operations.
Nigeria is one of the most famous, one of the 15 nations that participate actively with a lot of commitment.
We have been adjudged to have performed very well by the international communities.
Our business sector, private sector, and all should be engaged in the peacekeeping business.
From only 2 established post-secondary institutions at independence in 1960, Nigeria now has more than 400 universities and colleges widely dispersed throughout the country in an attempt to make higher education easily accessible. Today, primary education, free and compulsory, begins at 6 and lasts for 6 years.
During the 1970s, we laid the foundation for our own educational policy, and it was in 1976 that we had the Universal Primary Education Program. So ever since then, we have been trying to perfect our educational policy And part of the effect of that is bringing into law the UBEC.
I would say that, yes, education is being robbed off. It's best because it's not as lucrative as it ought to be. We do need to do something about it, quite frankly. I honestly believe that something should be done about it so that it's just as attractive as any other, profession that we have in Nigeria, so that people who actually want to teach can come, into teaching, and not the people that feel that, okay, just because I can't get a job, I'll come into teaching, or, let me just use it as a stopgap, and then when I get something better, I will move on. If it's lucrative, if it's, properly paid, then you would have, I'm sure we would have the people who actually want to teach coming into teaching.
Medical and health services are the responsibility of all levels of government in Nigeria. There are hospitals in the large cities and towns. Most of the state capitals have specialized hospitals, and many are home to a university teaching hospital. There are also numerous private hospitals, clinics and maternity centers to cater for the welfare of the teeming population.
It seems in Nigeria people believe that government has to provide a hospital, government has to provide schools, but there are private institutions and churches and mosques that are rich enough to build 50 to 100 bed hospitals that can be fully equipped to what Nigerians call world-class standard. I mean, CAMPAD as an organization can reach out to state governments. I've personally, I won't mention the state, reached out to one of my colleagues. I went to medical school with him, who's a commissioner presently in one of the states in Nigeria. And hopefully we'll be able to work some things out, just even on an experimental basis. Our colleagues in the US also are trying to do this, and I know some missions have gone ahead. But what we'd like to do is to have some degree of longitudinal involvement, not just to go for 1 week and come back, but obviously that will involve provision of maybe spaces for doctors to work.
I thought, what are the kind of things that I can help or impact with the way that they're doing training, specifically surgical training in Nigeria. So I went to do a pilot project at UCH and as well as at the University of Calabar, where we started to look at what are the ways that we're training the house officers in surgical training, and to try to start to identify gaps so that we can start to build and facilitate programs that help those trainees when they're out doing their NYSC year or further along if they're doing residency training afterwards.
Over time, infrastructure have thrived in Nigeria after concerted efforts have been made in housing, transportation, aviation, electricity, water supply, telecommunications, tourism, and so on.
We believe that we will see more uptake of telecommunication services. We also think that there will be significant growth with the rollout of mobile broadband. And if things go to plan, we expect to see a very strong adoption of mobile broadband in Nigeria.
There will be consolidation in this market because you have 5 GSM providers, with MTEL being the dormant for now. And then you have at least 4 providers in the CDMA sector, with 5 others with licenses that are alive and well. A market like Nigeria cannot accommodate 12 operators, so a consolidation is likely to happen.
Nigeria's rich and varied cultural heritage derives from the mixture of 8 ethnic groups with Arabic and Western European influences. The country combines traditional culture with international urban sophistication. Its vibrant popular culture reflects great changes in inherited traditions and adaptations of imported ones. Nigeria has a rich artistic heritage, including both traditional and contemporary art forms. From the naturalistic statues produced at Ife to the bronzes made for the King of Benin, Nigerian artists have crafted art that is world famous.
I do abstract art. I draw from a traditional Uli art. I love science fiction. I love science fantasy. I try to think of alternatives to everyday life and so on. And then I try to capture them in color and forms. And sometimes some of the things I see around me, I just try to capture the lines.
Music and dance are integral to Nigerian culture, and each ethnic group has its own specialties. Music is used to celebrate rulers and to accompany public assemblies, weddings and funerals, festivals, and storytelling.
Everybody say yeah, yeah. Everybody say yeah, yeah.
Nigerian contemporary music, which combines Western popular music with indigenous forms, has been exported throughout the world and has had wide influence and acceptance dating back in time.
Thousands to thousands, billions to billions. Which kind election be this? Let me see you. Oh, lo, lo, lo. Let me see you. Oh, lo, lo, lo. Bukao. Let me bukao. Let me see you, de buga. Oh, lo, lo, lo. Let me see you. Oh, lo, lo, lo. Bukao. Let me bukao.
Nigerian literature is known throughout the world. Wole Soyinka, who won the 1986 Nobel Prize for Literature, was the first black African to receive the award. Other Nigerian writers with a worldwide audience include Chinua Achebe, Buchi Emecheta, Flora Nwapa, Amos Tutuola, Gabriel Okara, Kole Omotosho, John Pepper Clark, Ben Okri, and Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie.
Marvelous experience, shall we say, of attending the tertiary institution in two different cultures, two geographies, two different backgrounds, but linked in some way. I began with the University of Ibadan in Nigeria, which was a very new university comparatively, and then moved on to Leeds University because in Ibadan, in Nigeria, they didn't have the course which I wanted. I wanted a degree in literature. And I was very lucky in the sense that I had some remarkable professors, and it's something which I wish all students would have. I had the famous Shakespearean scholar, G. Wilson Knight, who opened my eyes to many aspects of literature. Then I had somebody I like to refer to as the ultimate pagan. His name was Boname Dobre. He was a medievalist, and therefore he was steeped in a kind of culture which is very close to mine, the medieval period, and so there was a kind of empathy. But going to England also was for me a huge adventure. Never left the country before. I was very young, and I was very full of curiosity. I've always been. And I also met people from different cultures, not just from British culture. And I think as a general principle, if I could, I would make all students go to university away from their home.
The Nigerian film industry, known as Nollywood, has exploded to become the most popular cinema in all of West Africa, even more popular than imports of Hollywood and Bollywood films. Nollywood is now the third largest film industry in the world, generating hundreds of millions of dollars annually for the Nigerian economy.
You were saying something over the phone.
I need to see your husband. Where is he?
Okay, sit down and wait for him. Let me call him.
See him right now.
Afam, what is it? What is going on now? What's happening, sweetheart? Honey? Afam, what's happening?
Chijioke is dead.
Excuse me.
His ghost came to see you for the last time.
The Nigerian movie started from Ghana. I took Osofu Dazi stories to Nigeria in 1980, and we started as if it's a joke before we realized there is Nollywood. Now, what happened was the Nigerians were shooting films, and their biggest market was Ghana. So they shoot in Nigeria, come and sell it in Ghana. And Ghana, even though the two started here, the Ghanaians started saying, all right, we should.
As a sporting nation, Nigeria is highly revered in the world. Football, which is an obsession in the country, has taken the nation's image to great heights with some outstanding players known across the world.
They're offside here. Yakini's in the middle and has to score! 1-0 to Nigeria.
Three-time African champions, the Super Eagles, have been to 6 FIFA World Cups in 1994, 1999, 2002, 2010, 2014 and 2018. Nigeria won Olympics football gold medal at Atlanta 1996 in the USA and bronze medal at the Rio 2016 Olympics. The team is the first and only one from Africa to be ranked 5th by FIFA. The Golden Eaglets are the most successful national under-17 side in the world with 5 victories, having won the inaugural edition in 1985 in China before those of 1993, 2007, 2013 and 2015. The women's national team, Super Falcons, have been perennial African champions with 9 titles and have been to the World Cup for 9 times since 1991.
Nigeria has recorded a measure of success to some extent on the international scene. Such successes cannot be attributed to any deliberate or sustainable plan or structural efficiencies, but rather to the passion, determination, and commitment of the players and the handlers of the team. Therefore, your decision to direct that we set up a football master plan is meant to deal with the issues therefrom.
This government is interested in developing a football culture that will accommodate football best practices and that will help the nation to lay a solid foundation for her domestic football. Put in place professionally and efficiently run leagues, entrench a consistent and stable football calendar, and create a value chain which will boost the sports ecosystem.
Today, the likes of Essa Brume and Oluwatobiloba Amusan are household names for their extraordinary heroics in athletics. Toby Amusan is the current world, Commonwealth and African champion in the women's 100 meters hurdles.
Goes in 5. Watch for Amazan. She's forward from the left-hand side. Tapper's got away well, and Amazan's under a little bit of pressure. Now beginning to pull away the world champion, the world record holder. She's on her way to a successful title defence. Semba's on the podium, and so too Charlton of Bahamas. Their first medal, 12.129. Cometh the hour, cometh the champion. It's a successful title defence and a games record by a country mile. Amazan is on fire this season and she has forgotten how to lose.
Nigeria's sporting exports are litany and could be seen excelling in various disciplines including boxing, kickboxing, table tennis and so on. It is a new dawn for the nation as she marks Independence Anniversary. Expectations going forward are indeed high and lofty.
Hey!